Here in Chicago, we are ready for Game 2 of the State Farm Champions Classic. Pitting four iconic programs against one another. A couple of Hall of Famers coaching in Game 2. Bill Self, a two-time NCAA champion, leads the Jayhawks into the United Center against John Calipari. The Wildcats are ready to go as they take on #1 Kansas next. One of the best events in the season. This fan base is ready to go.
I am the greatest. I am the greatest. Hold up, top of the list.
Share the ball and the most aggressive team wins.
I am the greatest. I am the greatest.
What an amazing sequence by Kansas.
At the top of the list.
Oh, two hands in. Throw it over there.
The greatest is back in the booth.
Pull up three. Give it to him. And a poster dunk. The season starts here, starts tonight. Welcome to the State Farm Champions Classic. Coming to you live this year from the United Center here in Chicago. It is an ESPN Sonic blockbuster here in Game 2. The two winningest programs in the history of college basketball between Kentucky and Kansas. Earlier in Game 1, Duke victorious over Michigan State. Kyle Filipowski had 15, had to work hard for them. The freshman Caleb Foster was the high scorer in the game for the Blue Devils. Knocked down 4-3, scored 18 points, leading Duke to a 74-65 victory over Michigan State. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis. We both had pasta between games and didn't spill anything on ourselves, but we digress. Let's talk about Kansas. 3 returning starters from a team that was awfully good last year.
And excellent returning starters. Maybe the best defensive trio, not only in the Big 12, but nationally. Kevin McCullough, who was a finalist for the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year award. DeJuan Harris, who won that award and was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And KJ Adams, one of the bounciest big guys in the country. But their new additions, Timberlake can shoot it. Jackson, the explosive freshman, but the real prize was Hunter Dickinson in the portal coming in from Michigan. He's averaging just under 20 points per game, 8 rebounds, shooting about 65%. And he's shown himself to be versatile. He can step out, knock down a 3. He is very good in the post. This is their 2 game. There's going to be a little cross screen set, and then they get into a high-low. And being fronted in the post, Hunter Dickinson is able to move his defender up the lane. And as the ball gets reversed, DeJuan Harris can just throw right over the top up to the square, and the lefty gets an easy basket. And then in transition, getting the rebound, the quick outlet, and Hunter Dickinson comes down as the trailer. The ball moves, hits the trailer, and if you are not right up on him, he can knock down a 3, and he's been shooting the 3 at a really high rate this year. Kansas averaging 99 points a game. People are going, can they shoot it? 99 points a game, and they're averaging just under 30 assists. I think they can score.
As for Kentucky, at times recently, they've been a little bit older. Not this year. The #1 ranked recruiting class has come to Lexington, and John Calipari has talented freshmen after talented freshmen, including Justin Edwards, who's summer tabbing as the #1 pick in the NBA draft. DJ Wagner, Aaron Bradshaw injured tonight. He won't play. Robert Dillingham can fill it up. Reeves, Sheppard, a terrific all-round player, but they've also got a little bit of experience, including a terrific shooter in Antonio Reeves.
Antonio Reeves transferred in last year from Illinois State. He played 3 years for the Redbirds, and he had a really good year last year. Can really shoot it, shot over 40% from 3, and he's leading this team in scoring right now, averaging over 16 points, shooting 50% from 3, and he is an excellent bowler.
But they are small because they have 3 big men who are not playing tonight. 2 of them are injured. We mentioned Aaron Bradshaw, another 7-footer, Onyenso. Each of them is probably at least a couple of weeks away, and they're still waiting for the NCAA to give clearance to Zvonimir Ivisic, a 7'2" freshman from Croatia. So it is a small team playing against a team that has Hunter Dickinson. So that will be an interesting subplot in this game between Kentucky and Kansas. We're going to send you cross court now. Holly Rose with both coaches.
I'm never late. You're never late, Coach. You're always on time. Well, Coach Cal, I'm going to start with you. You are without 7 3-footers tonight. That is no
small thing. What can your squad do and focus on?
Survival. But what Bill has done, he's done it every year. They create great opportunities. We're going to have to fight like heck. Look, we've been in national championship games, 2 of them together, right?
Right.
Did we win both?
No, you did not win both. You lucked out 1-1, but no, you win.
Coach, what do you want to see from your team tonight?
I want to see how athletic we can play, because they got athletes, and we need to be able to keep the ball in front of us and just play with the free mind.
Thank you so much.
Boy, these are 2 guys who have been there, done that, seen it all. And, you know, this game means a lot. But isn't it great to see the 2 of them talking to Holly and having some jokes with each other moments before the game?
Well, both have Kansas in their backgrounds. John Calipari was an assistant for the Jayhawks under Ted Owens and Larry Brown. And then in 1985-86, Bill Self was a graduate assistant for Larry Brown on that great team with Danny Manning and Ron Kellogg, Calvin Thompson, Mark Turgeon.
Yep. Underway here in this Sonic blockbuster. Kansas in white, Kentucky in blue. Kentucky leads the all-time series 24-11, but Kansas has won 5 of the last 7. Kevin McCullough, who's been very assertive offensively in the first 2 games of the year for the Jayhawks, misses an early jumper. As we show you the starting 5 for Kentucky, brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care. DJ Wagner, the freshman. Thiero back after missing the last game. He was in concussion protocol. And you get 2 freshmen, Wagner and Edwards, both in the starting lineup. That is Edwards missing the jumper. And a look at the Kansas starting lineup tonight. DeJuan Harris, one of the best point guards in the country, does not shoot often, but when he takes them, he tends to make them at a pretty good clip.
Well, he should have shot that one right away, and I think Bill Self wants to see DeJuan Harris be more aggressive offensively. He's not been scoring to start this year, but his assist rate is high and one of the best defenders in the country.
All right, tell us about some of these youngsters. DJ Wagner, who just missed that shot, what does he bring?
Well, DJ Wagner is really good defensively, fights over screens, and this is where you're going to see Kansas go all game long. They're looking to get the ball inside into the paint to Dickinson, KJ Adams. They're going to post Kevin McCullough. They really want to put some pressure on Kentucky to guard down in the post, and Bill Self is expert at getting angles for his post players to get the ball inside after ball reversal.
Yeah, there was no secret shoot around today for Kansas what the point of emphasis was. Dickinson, arguably maybe not even arguably, the top player in the portal after 3 years at Michigan, 3-time All Big Ten, and he's just about a lock for 20 and 10 on any given night.
Well, he keeps the ball high. He can play on the perimeter, knock down a shot, play pick and roll to the basket, and he's getting excellent angles in the post.
Harris lost it, out of bounds, still Kansas ball. With 7 on the shot clock.
And really a key player in this game is going to be Trey Mitchell, wearing number 4 for Kentucky. 6'9", he's having to play the 5 spot, and Kentucky's basically playing a 5-out offense, but he's going to have to guard Hunter Dickinson.
His 4th school, UMass, Texas, West Virginia. The only bit of good news for Kentucky, that's not good news. The only bit of good news is it's not like they had Bradshaw and had Onyenso and had Ivisic and lost them. They've been playing this way from a summer tour up to Canada exhibition games, first 2 games of the season, so they're used to playing with this kind of a group.
And I think this Kansas team can be very good defensively. They don't have a ton of rim protection, but they have versatile defenders that can switch, with the exception of Hunter Dickinson.
Well, Marco Jackson is fouled, and he will go to the free throw line, a freshman out of Marlton, New Jersey.
I heard Bill Self tell Holly Rowe that he wanted to see if his team could stay in front defensively, and so far they have. And Hunter Dickinson just out battling Trey Mitchell for that rebound. Took a piece of the arm, but got the ball. And that lefty able to go off the glass. He has been so efficient to start this year, shooting over 65%, 100% from 3. I don't think that's going to last all season, but a pretty good start.
It does not seem sustainable. Bill Self, who's had a lot of really talented big guys in the program, obviously, says that Dickinson is the best offensive big man that he has ever coached.
Well, and largely that's because he can really pass it. And that adds a different dimension. If he gets doubled in the post, he can see over and pass it opposite. But he's certainly the first legit low post threat since Udoka Azubuike, and that was a different kind of low post threat. That guy anybody who is a load would call Azubuike a load.
Meanwhile, Kentucky just looking to break the ice here 3 minutes in. Thiero gets the friendly bounce.
Thiero actually got taller from last year to this year. He went from 6'6" to 6'8", put on a bunch of weight, much stronger.
Adams with the short roll and the kick. This is Jackson, the freshman. Missing the three, and a good rebound by Reeves.
Boy, Adams is so good off that short roll. Catches it without walking, can make a play, and made a play by passing it.
Reeves with a little hesitation, and he draws the foul on KJ Adams.
Yeah, Kentucky's going to run some action, but the action is primarily to move the defense, and then so they can turn a corner and get downhill and force Kansas into some help situations that they can play off of. And they've got some spectacular athletes that can really score. They can make shots, and they're a very good passing team. Everybody on the floor right now for Kentucky can handle, pass, and score.
Both teams are 2-0. Kentucky has beaten New Mexico State and Texas A&M Commerce, although they were down 21-8 in that game to A&M Commerce. Kansas is 2-0. They have blown out NC Central and Manhattan College, scoring 99 points in each game.
Well, if you sell out and try to make a steal in the post, you'd better get it. Otherwise, you're giving up an easy basket. And Kentucky just, Thiero went for the steal, and it was just an easy score for Hunter Dickinson.
Tough shot there. Step back three by Reeves won't go.
But Kevin McCullough looks a lot like Jalen Wilson with the way he's playing this year. Doesn't shoot it quite as well, but he can grab a rebound and bring it up himself, and he's just in attack mode. He's had a great start to this season.
Always has been a terrific defender, but putting up big numbers at the offensive end so far this year. As Kansas is as a whole, they are off to a great start. 4:25 in, and as expected, Jay, Hunter Dickinson's been a big part of it.
Representing the DMV. And he always keeps the ball high and has such a great touch. Needs to get his shell. You had me at Fritos.
Not my first rodeo with you. I know. Zach Levine in the house tonight, along with Rich Paul, taking on this game, and a former Kentucky Wildcat, John Wall, is here in Chicago as well. You and I were debating that might be a little bit strong. At one point, John Wall, in my mind, was as quick end-to-end as anybody playing basketball.
I think you're right.
Years, so.
That played for that 2010 Kentucky team that went to the Elite Eight before getting bested by West Virginia. And that was a spot, man. That was John Calipari's first team, and when he brought that group of freshmen in, highly touted with DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, John Wall, you thought there's no way that a group of freshmen can be a dominant team, and they were. And he continued with that theme year after year, and he's gotten back to it this year with this crew. He took a lot of transfers the last couple of years, and now he's back to the uber talented freshman. And speaking of that, the Johnny Furphy, number 10 for Kansas, he can really shoot it.
6'9" from Australia. Here he is, passes it off. That was Nicholas Timberlake, a transfer from Towson, another good shooter. He scored 18 points per game last year for Towson.
But there you saw Kansas going essentially 4-on-1 and moving the ball. And Hunter Dickinson is going to be able, if the ball keeps moving, he's going to be open at an angle.
Tipped away by Jordan Burks, but Furphy has it for Kansas, and McCullough has it rejected by Justin Edwards.
But what an athletic play by Justin Edwards, the lefty from Philly, 6'8".
Wagner more of an attacker than a shooter. Edwards, the lefty, passes up the three, still plenty of time. Here goes Wagner. Left hand around and out and down to Kansas.
Just couldn't get it to go with the left hand, but a good drive. What a pass.
Furphy, quick release. A little bit short. Wagner the rebound. Rob Dillingham, no look pass off to Mitchell, and one.
Furphy might have shot that ball a little bit quickly. That allowed, with the rebound, Kentucky to get out in transition. And you you can see that this is a really good passing team, and Dillingham is so quick with the ball. I think in their testing, all of their, almost combine type testing, Dillingham didn't come out as the fastest player end to end, but with the ball in his hands, he's the fastest player on this Kentucky team.
Harris at the point, as always, for Kansas. Ultimate pass point, a pass first point guard, terrific defender as well. Timberlake over Sheppard, rattles out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the kind of shot, a challenge two, that Bill Self wanted to see out of Nicholas Timberlake.
Boy, look at Burks go flying in there, couldn't come up with it. Dillingham gets a second opportunity, finds Mitchell, and he can't lay it in from about 4 feet away. Stolen by Sheppard, and a great look ahead to Dillingham.
Well, Kansas just got going a little bit too fast, and there's no reason to be in a rush there. And it wound up turnover easy basket for Kentucky.
Timberlake from the corner, Dickinson with a rebound. Has it knocked away, Kentucky ball.
That's one where Dickinson needed to kick it out.
Sheppard, nice little pass off to Edwards, but he couldn't finish it.
Just couldn't get his steps down. He almost walked with it. Might have been surprised. That was a heck of a pass by Reed Sheppard.
Boy, they've stepped it up. Kentucky has to the defensive end. The pace is much better, and they've gotten themselves back in this game.
Well, Dillingham brought in a little bit of speed, and Reed Sheppard, boy, he is a smart player and a really good defender.
Now we're here in Chicago, Big Ten country, and they are booing Hunter Dickinson. Of course, 3 years at Michigan. Wide open Mitchell. He can knock that down, and he does.
Boy, what an answer by Kentucky. Kentucky can put pressure on the ball. This is an athletic crew. They can switch just about every spot.
8-0 run to tie the game, and they've got it again.
And Dickinson just needed to move his man further up the lane to give that pass, and it needed to be a little more air under it from DeJuan Harris.
Great pass by Dillingham, but an air ball from Burks on the three. Sheppard playing free safety.
Just a bad decision. Kansas playing a little bit reckless right now.
Edwards has it swatted away by Harris. It never went out of bounds. And McCullough is fouled by Sheppard at the other end.
Well, what a defensive play and a recovery by DeJuan Harris. That should have been an easy basket for Kentucky, but Harris with those great hands taking it away. That's why he's the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. It's not that he doesn't ever get beat, but he recovers. Just a great awareness defensively.
Kevin McCullough Jr. at the line for the Jayhawks.
And McCullough at the line, and now for Kansas, fifth-year senior. 3 years at Texas Tech, second year at Kansas. He is a two-time Naismith Defensive Player of the Year semifinalist who appears to have taken his offensive game up a couple of notches this year.
When you're one of the best defenders in the country and you lose all these awards to your teammate.
Yes.
Thiero and DJ Wagner.
But he is playing on the level, except for the shooting. He's not quite the shooter, but he's playing on a similar level to what, at least early on, what Jalen Wilson was doing last year and Ochai Agbaji did before that. He's really matured into a terrific all-around player. Talk about a two-way player. He can guard absolutely anybody. He's on Antonio Reeves right now.
And they've got three outstanding defenders on this team, and McCullough, Harris, and Adams. All three of them terrific. Wagner got the switch, but he's got Adams on him. Gives it up.
And Thiero needs to drive this matchup. He picked his dribble up.
Mitchell from the elbow. Rebound Dickinson.
He's a good outlet passer.
Nice pass. Yeah, just a beautiful vision there from Harris to find Jackson.
And that's where youth is showing up in transition defense, trying to get matched up quickly.
Reeves through some heavy traffic, and Adams swatted it away.
Talk about a recovery. What is Adams, 6'4", 6'5"?
They list him, I think it's 6'7", but probably more like 6'6".
He jumps out of the gym.
Yep. Jackson underneath. McCullough, yes. And it's back to a 5-point lead after Kentucky had tied it. Thiero now will drive on Dickinson, but can't get a shot off.
Dickinson gave him space, basically dared him to shoot it.
McCullough's on Mitchell. Here comes the double.
Good pass out.
And the good extra pass. Open is Sheppard.
Yeah, that double's just too slow. That's got to come quicker. Trey Mitchell saw that coming all the way and passed out of it. That extra pass led to the wide open shot. If you're going to double, you have to double right on the catch or wait till there's a dribble into a scoring area and come.
McCullough off to Adams, 8 to shoot. Jackson up top, and he hit the rim with the pass.
Well, that pass has to have a little more air under it. You've got to give Hunter Dickinson a little bit of time so he can move his defender up the lane, so he's got space where the ball can go over the defender's head and he can just hold him off.
Deep one for Sheppard, his second three of the night. And Kentucky's got the lead.
Well, Reed Sheppard has point guard skills, high release on that shot. He is a good player. Scored 3,700 points in high school.
Count the basket and a foul. As McCullough knocks it in to put Kansas back on top. When we come back, Chicago's own Antonio Reeves going 94 feet with Jay Billis.
Have you seen The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
He's the dude.
94 feet with Kentucky's Antonio Reeves. Now, you're from Chicago. What's your go-to thing to eat when you're at home?
I like to eat Hero's chicken and Italian fiesta. It's chicken and pizza. Yeah.
So what do you do in your leisure time away from basketball?
I like to go bowling.
Are you a good bowler?
Yeah, I am.
What's the best you've ever rolled?
I rolled a 250 before.
So how many strikes in a row is your all-time high?
It's around nine strikes.
So 9 strikes, that's pretty good. Have you ever seen the movie The Big Lebowski?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because you're the dude. Yeah. 94 feet with the dude, Antonio Reeves.
Antonio, see the movie.
Antonio Reeves, that guy can roll.
Yes. You know who's an outstanding bowler? Like a phenomenal bowler?
No.
Mookie Betts.
You're kidding.
Like phenomenal bowler.
So he must have his own ball and his own shoes.
I'm sure he does. He's the dude.
Antonio Reeves has his own bowling ball. He does not have his own shoes. He wears rented shoes. You'd think he could get an NIL deal.
Yeah, I was going to say,
shoes.
In this day and age, got family here. A lot of Chicago connections on these teams. Reeves on the bench right now. McCullough at the line. Kentucky has come back from an 8-0 deficit. They tied it. They took the lead briefly. Now Kansas by 2, just past the midway point of the first half.
Well, Kentucky now, Kansas has helped out a little bit by some of the decisions they've made, but they need to start, just play instinctively. And this is a group that can drive and make shots and play out of situations.
Dickinson out of the game on the bench for the first time tonight as Wagner misses the 3. Parker Brown is in the game right now for Kansas. He is the older brother of former Kansas Jayhawk, current Denver Nugget, Christian Brown.
Parker Brown started his career at Missouri as a walk-on, then went to Santa Clara and played a couple years before coming to Kansas. And he's a good athlete and a good offensive player.
Number 23 in white. McCullough into traffic and draws the foul.
He just had a matchup that he was bigger than. He was being guarded by Reed Sheppard, took a left-handed drive into the middle and spun off it and just was able to draw that contact. But a much more aggressive offensive player this year, Kevin McCullough.
Number 2 on Sheppard as McCullough goes to the line. And this will be a loss for Kentucky as Sheppard is going to come out, and we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, Jay, exactly to your point, I talked to Kevin McCullough today after their shoot-around and asked him what his goals for the season are, and he said, I want to be the most versatile player on the floor. And by that, he means defense. You know, he built his reputation on defense, and he's been a great defensive player, but he wants people to know he can score. He can score at all 3 levels. He's working on more consistency with that 3-point shot, but we've seen that aggressive mindset going to the basket, and it's part of his goals going into this season. He wants to be Mr. Versatility.
Well, to that point, Holly, he's a career 30% 3-point shooter, but he started off this season going 5 for 12. He's much more confident. He's averaging just under 19 points and 6.5 rebounds and just under 5 assists. He's playing a complete floor game. But he really does conjure up memories of the improvement of Jalen Wilson last year. And he can rip and run. He grabs a defensive rebound. He can bring it up himself.
Good extra pass. Dillingham into the corner. Thiero short on the 3, but out of bounds to the Wildcats.
Certainly not a bad shot, but that might be one for a shot fake and drive. Kentucky's going to have to put Kansas into help situations. You know, get downhill where they draw help and then can play out of it, because they've got a lot of good passers, good decision makers.
There's Dillingham with a strong drive, floats it up and in.
Well, there's an example of it.
He's got that extra gear, doesn't he?
He is so quick with the ball and can really score. I mean, I think you mentioned in their blue-white scrimmage he had 40.
Blue was loaded in that game, though. I mean, it really wasn't.
Well, I'm sure John Calipari would say, well, we weren't playing a whole lot of defense.
Yeah. Tough one for a guy who doesn't shoot very often. DeJuan Harris just made one with a high degree of difficulty. And then is called for a block at the other end.
Just not quite there, but the fact that DeJuan Harris can move his feet to try to stay in front. You know, it's just, Dillingham's just got a ton of ability. That is not an easy shot right over KJ Adams, but didn't touch any rim at all.
7:59 to go. Game 2 of the State Farm Champions Classic. Kansas leading Kentucky by 4.
So here's what we'll do on the sub. Hey, we're going to be at 21. If they're 4-man is here, you're up. 5-man will be kind of even. If you're up, we'll be like this with Justin all over. Okay? If that man cuts and I send him, then you're playing too. Okay? All right? Now, we're calling some fouls. Stay down. Why are we all leaving our feet?
John Calipari in the huddle with Kentucky.
Well, I always hark back to what I was told one time. You can't leave your feet. You leave the floor.
Yes.
Your feet go with you.
This has been a bone of contention with you for a number of years. Who was it? Jeff Nix who said that to you? Is that who it was?
No, it was Steve Yoder,
Steve
the former
Yoder,
coach
that's
of Wisconsin.
Right. Yes, yeah.
He cornered me in the Birmingham, Alabama airport and said, why do you guys always say leave your feet?
Yeah.
You can't leave your feet. You leave the floor, your feet go with you.
Point well taken.
You don't seem to take it very well.
No, that's true.
Long shots, long rebounds.
Dillingham off to Reeves. The kick out to Edwards. And flying in is Thiero. And who'd they get? They got somebody on Kansas.
Thiero is a really good offensive rebounder. Can be an above the rim finisher. He can knock down a 3 when his feet are set. He's got a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan.
Second foul on the freshman Johnny Furphy of Kansas.
That's a tough box out responsibility because Furphy's not as big and strong.
Nice reverse by Thiero. Boy, they're happy to have him back.
And whenever there's a ball reversal for Kentucky, they're looking to drive it. You know, they get, after a couple of actions, they're getting into their dribble drive stuff. Thiero puts the ball on the deck, gets to that right hand, just gets it right over the outstretched left hand of Hunter Dickinson, but it's the attack of the basket on the reversal that's so important. I mean, Kentucky has to continue to attack and put pressure on the rim.
And if you're Kansas, they're going inside every opportunity they can get. That's the 5th point of the night for Dickinson. He's got 8 rebounds already in the game tonight.
When Hunter Dickinson's in the game and Kansas goes essentially 4 round 1, my contention is that Dickinson is always open. It's just a question of moving the ball to the right angle.
What about Dickinson and Adams playing together as the 2 front court guys?
Well, I know that KJ Adams kind of likes playing the 4 because he doesn't have to guard 6'10", 6'11 guys. But boy, he had a real advantage in mismatches when he was playing the 5. There comes the double. Great cut from the corner.
Dillingham is open and knocks down a 3.
Boy, Jordan Burks made a great cut from the corner. Wound up getting that pass from Mitchell and immediately kicked it out to Dillingham. That's good basketball by Kentucky. You know, you made the point during a timeout where nobody could hit. You make most of your best points during the timeout.
Thank you.
But Kentucky doesn't turn the ball over.
Right.
This young group, you know, they're a good passing team, but they are not reckless with the ball. They do not turn it over. Look at that crossover. Everything in this last play, Hunter Dickinson comes over to double, and Burks just cuts right to the front of the rim, gets surrounded and kicks it out, relocating Rob Dillingham for the step-in 3. That's just really good basketball and a really good decision by Jordan Burks.
It's not even a subtle thing, but it's one of those things. Moving without the ball is something maybe that doesn't get talked about enough, but it's so critical.
Well, a stationary player is easy to guard.
I was waiting for you to say that was a good point I made on the air.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Well, I didn't say you don't make good points. You make your best points off the air.
Yes.
Arguably.
Dillingham, another one.
Boy, he is feeling it. You remember so many Kentucky freshmen. I think Tyrese Maxey busted out in his first game in the Champions Classic, his only game in the Champions Classic. Rob Dillingham making his name known in a Wildcat uniform.
Kentucky has been a team in recent years that has not relied on the 3 very much, or has not been a very prolific 3-point shooting team. Easy 2 for Hunter Dickinson. The early indications are Kentucky is going to take more 3s this year than they have in recent years. The question is, will they be a good 3-point shooting team? But you can see they've got some possibilities on this team.
No, they've got more shooters, more guys that can really score.
That's what we call a heat check, and he's still hot. That was serious depth. Dillingham with 3 threes and 13 points.
And Kentucky is punching back in this one, and Rob Dillingham playing right in the middle of the lane on DeJuan Harris. You can't dare him to shoot. He may have been through most of his career a reluctant shooter, but he's a good shooter.
You know what's great about that? Again, as you say, he doesn't shoot much. He was starting to go back on defense before the ball went in. He knew it was going in, and now another one for Dillingham. Kansas in transition. They come up empty, and now here come the Cats running. Reeves steps into it. Yes! Kentucky is filling it up.
I think the questions about Kentucky's ability to shoot it from the perimeter have been answered by Dillingham and Reeves.
Kentucky has 9 threes already in this game, and Rob Dillingham has 4 of them.
Well, and Kentucky have willing passers. Nothing on the baseline, kicking it out to Dillingham. Nobody picks up Dillingham, bringing it up. He's just able to walk into a shot. And then a little bit of a switch. He sees that he's got Hunter Dickinson on him, just backs up. And then Dillingham, you thought as hot as he is, he might have kept that, but he was willing to give it up on the right wing to a great shooter in Antonio Reeves. Bill Self having to call a timeout. Nobody's told these young freshmen, you're too young, and Bill Self is like, how do we let these guys get so wide open? How are we so loose with the ball? Are you kidding?
Kentucky's made its last 5 threes and 9 of 18 on the night. So 27 of their 36 points have come from beyond the arc.
Why you want to settle for a 3 after timeout, I don't know.
Wagner can't get by Elmarco Jackson. Now open is Reeves. Not this time. Ooh, and Edwards is fouled. I think it'll be on Harris. is.
Just got undercut going up for that. So difficult to block out as a wing rebounder, and that's what's difficult about this 5-out offense. Is they can, Kentucky can get a run up, and if you've had a switch, all of a sudden you got to block out with a point guard on a 6'9" wing.
Nice sportsmanship from Harris. He went up to Edwards and said, "Hey, I didn't mean that." And they slapped hands. And Bill Self is going to leave Harris in the game with 2 fouls here and 4:09 to go in the half.
You have to trust your veteran point guard. He's not going to pick up another one. Justin Edwards from Philadelphia is one talented young man. His mother was an outstanding player. Ebony Twigg, she was the MVP of the Philly Public League title game. And then years later, her son was MVP of the Philly Public League title game.
Now he went back up the court, wringing out his left hand. That's his shooting hand as Adams lays it in for Kansas. Something to keep an eye on here with Edwards.
Well, KJ Adams is so strong and explosive.
Wagner, no. Dickinson, another rebound. That's his 10th. Everything but as it hung around on the rim. And a timeout on the floor. Kentucky now with a lead, and we'll see how Kansas responds. Again, they're going to try to pound the ball inside every single chance they get. If not Dickinson, it'll be KJ Adams. Can't forget about him. 37-year
Bill Self is 2019 U.S. Open champion Gary Woodland, who played golf at Kansas. He actually played in Allen Fieldhouse as a visitor against the Jayhawks before transferring to Kansas. Just 2 months off of brain surgery. Got out and hit some balls the other day for the first time. You're not going to find a better guy than Gary Woodland. And looks great. Glad to see him at the game. Got a chance to see him at shoot around today, and just a sweetheart of a guy, and so glad to see him here.
Kansas travels so many fans. Kentucky does as well. Great 5 here in the arena. KJ Adams is awfully good at that. He came into the game shooting 81% of the first 2 games. He had 6 dunks in the win over Manhattan College a few days ago.
And with Hunter Dickinson in the game, Hunter Dickinson can play the high post, and then KJ Adams can go into the low post, and he plays angles extraordinarily well. And once he gets the ball by the basket, it's in.
High-low can go either way, right, with Dickinson and Adams.
Adams, you see him playing the angle, just gets it as the ball's reversed, just ducks in. And you have to have pressure on the ball to take away the vision of DeJuan Harris. That was just a straight line pass into the post. And all of a sudden, KJ Adams has his chin on the rim.
Adu Thiero at the line for Kentucky.
Rob Dillingham back in the game. He's got 16 points, 4 of 5 from 3. John Calipari took him out for a little bit of a rest, but boy, he was about as hot as you can get.
Kentucky 10 assists to just 1 turnover so far in the game, and they've got a 5-point lead.
They came into the game, their first 2 games, they're only averaging 4.5 turnovers a game, so it's not unusual. It's just unusual against this good of a team.
And unusual with such a young group as well. And they're all over the glass. If Thiero hadn't done it, Edwards would have.
Well, we talked about him being a good offensive rebounder.
McCullough, no. And Adams knocks down Thiero.
I think Bill Self is frustrated with some of the shot selection, especially in transition, by his team. They're not really putting Kentucky in tough situations to guard. They've been loose with the ball. They've turned it over. Kentucky taking advantage of it. And just great board coverage. Thiero, I mean, he had to go backwards to catch that ball, showing that 6'11" wingspan and athleticism.
Second on Adams. He'll come out. Parker Brown back in. And Thiero back at the free throw line. Kentucky was down 8-0 and 11-3 in the early stages of this game, and now they've got their largest lead of the night.
Yeah, and Kentucky on pace to put up half 100 in the first half, and Bill Self is not going to be happy with this kind of defensive effort. And part of it has been they've put their defense in some bad spots by taking some quick shots and jumpers, and then that they don't need to take, and then some turnovers, being a little bit reckless with the ball.
That's the look of a coach who's got 6 freshmen in the rotation. No, don't commit a foul 75 feet away from the basket. Especially when it's your second and you're the hottest guy in the gym.
Well, Cal may be frustrated now, but he knows these guys are going to get a lot better. And when he gets his full complement of players. But this is what Cal looks like when everything's going well.
They're playing with only 8 scholarship players tonight. They got the 2 injured big guys, and then Ivisic, who hasn't been cleared yet. They've only got 8 scholarship players, and they're small, they're young. They're the guys they're hoping to get. Those far 3 on the right there.
That was the look that Cal had when he came to ESPN and gave a presentation, and his gift was a Dunkin' Donuts gift card from our boss Norby Williamson. And when he went to use it, there was nothing on it.
Such a good story. And there's Norby, who's still hearing about it today, and said to you, quote, "Tell him to get over it already."
Come on, there was something on the card. Tell him to get over it. He's still telling that story. He does love Cal does love his Dunkin' Donuts. He had a big old cup of it today at practice.
Reeves driving on McCullough, who stays in front of him. Thiero passed up the 3, instead trying to drive Dickinson. And eventually Reeves the miss. Good rebound by Brown, and he wrestles it away and then throws it away.
Well, he got pressure. Justin Edwards trying to take the ball from him and just overthrew the pass to Marco Jackson trying to get it down court.
Timeout, Kentucky.
And a timeout taken by John Calipari. Saturday on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus. There are 3 SEC football games starting at noon, with the home teams being A&M, Mississippi State, and Alabama. And then on the SEC Network, you got 3 games going on as well all through the afternoon and evening if you're looking for Ole Miss, Auburn, or then Kentucky at South Carolina. Rob Dillingham has been the big story in the first half.
Well, 6'3" freshman from Hickory, North Carolina, the furniture capital of the world. And he is showing a polished game on the offensive end. Get it, furniture polish?
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there, but he can really score. And when he's getting into a rhythm, you can see he's starting to see a bigger basket. But he is not alone as a guy who can score. Justin Edwards can really score. Reed Sheppard, who's in foul trouble, is a good shooter, good passer. This is an outstanding freshman class that John Calipari's brought in.
Holly Rowe has more.
You know, UK went up to Toronto for this Global Jam Festival, and Dillingham said he felt like he got pushed around up there. So he went home and he decided he had to put on some weight so he could absorb the bumps and physicality. He went from 155 to 172. You can see that physicality helping him here tonight.
I wonder, Holly, when he went to Toronto, if the wonderful people of Canada treated him as well as my partner treated me when he took me to a staple of Canadian cuisine.
Yes.
Subway.
Yes. Speaking of stories that get told over and over and over again.
Because where could I get Subway except for Canada?
Well, my Subway card wasn't empty, so we had to, but it was Harris with a floater. And the rebound to Thiero. Little look away, trying to go all the way. Ooh. And McCullough just ran into the back of Reeves.
Well, Kentucky getting down floor, not just with the initial push, but they're getting multiple players. And Reeves just beat everybody down the floor as an offensive rebounder, even though he's a guard. Market 8, dude.
I hope he watches that movie by the next time that you or we do a Kentucky game.
He should. Actually, The Big Lebowski is a great movie.
It's a fantastic movie. Timberlake is back in, and McCullough's going to sit. So McCullough's got 2, Furphy's got 2, Adams has 2, Harris has 2.
John Goodman
You're still thinking about the movie.
When he spreads out Donnie's ashes. Might be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Try to stay in the moment here, Jay.
I am in the moment. Right. We're talking about bowling.
Kentucky down by 8 early, now up by 9. And this is what Bill Self wants to see, other than he wants to see Dickinson put the ball in the bucket. But they want to pound the ball inside every time they can. Reeves followed and slammed by Thiero.
This is what John Calipari wanted out of this young team. Get out there and ball. Play instinctively. But that was a great pass by Edwards. And then Thiero, talk about not giving up on a play.
Boy, he's everywhere, isn't he?
And he just got fouled there. Didn't get called.
Thiero is all over the place right now with 13 points and 8 rebounds in this game.
The quality of shot. I mean, they got a good one for Hunter Dickinson on the last possession. He just missed it. But Kentucky is getting a much better quality of shot throughout the course of this first half. Initially, Kansas was very resolute to get the ball inside, but they've made some questionable decisions on the offensive end, turning it over. And I would posit that some of the shots that Kansas has taken have been turnovers. You know, and a bad shot is the first pass in your opponent's fast break, and Kansas has taken a few of those, and that's why they're down 12 in this one.
Boy, and somehow that ball finds its way back into Kentucky hands.
Trey Mitchell just didn't give up on it, got a finger on it, knocked it away.
Wagner.
That's got to be Thiero's foul. So Dickinson will go to the line.
Yeah.
But give him credit for going after the ball. There's no two ways about it. They are going after it.
Number 2 on Thiero.
That is not waiting for the ball to come to you.
Boy, Thiero's been playing all night long like he got shot out of a cannon. He has been all over the place tonight. He appeared in 20 games last year for a total of 190 minutes on the season. He is clearly going to be a much bigger factor for this Kentucky team this year.
So make or miss here for Dickinson. Kentucky can take the last shot. And if they score, they get the ball back to start the second half. And for Kentucky, this is going to be an important possession to try to get a score, get to 50 or 51 by halftime. And they get to start the second half with the ball. Can have a little silent run on Kansas here.
And a first half double-double now for Dickinson, 10 and 10. Reeves puts it on the deck. Jackson stays in front of him. 9 seconds in the half. Dillingham. And they turn it over. He just kind of got caught underneath the basket without a really good plan B to get rid of it to somebody.
Yeah, should have just kept his dribble there.
Dillingham to the bench. Wagner back in as Kansas will now get a chance for the final shot.
Yeah, Kentucky just started their action a little bit too early there.
Dickinson gets it off and hit it. Boy, does that feel big for the Jayhawks. It was Kentucky ball with a 10-point lead. They could have held it. Instead, it's a 7-point game at the half.
What a big turnaround. Not getting the last shot, turning it over, then giving up a 3. And now it's a 7-point game.
Holly Rowe with Coach Cal.
Coach Cal, you've got a young team, but how fun is the competitive nature and composure you're seeing from them?
You know, it's fun to watch. And you saw Rob go on a run. Well, that could be Antonio. It could be DJ. It could be Justin. But how about a Duke? Thiero. Come on. I mean, he's just playing. And Jordan Burks and Reed got in and played well. So we got a good group. We got good basketball players.
Thank you, Coach.
He's got to be happy. And Dillingham leading the way 16. Thiero 13 and 9. And these young cats have the lead on Kansas at the half. Dickinson, though, Hunter Dickinson with a very important shot right at the end of the half of 3 to make it a 7-point game. After the break, the Jeep Halftime Report with Kevin, Seth, J. Welcome back to the State Farm Champions Classic. And what a fun first half that was between number 17 Kentucky, number 1 Kansas. They were wrestling for the loose balls and the rebounds at times in the first half. Hunter Dickinson had a big first half, 13 points, 10 rebounds, but nobody electrified the crowd more than Rob Dillingham, who scored 16 points, knocked down 4 threes in the first half. Kentucky as a team made 9 of them. And they've got the lead going to the second half in this ESPN Sonic Blockbuster. And welcome back inside the United Center. That was fun. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis with you. How about Kentucky and their ability to get open and make threes?
Well, they thrived in transition. After a slow start, they started to punch the lane. And when they did, they were able to play out of it. And once they put the ball on the deck, they got it into the low post. Trey Mitchell draws a double team. And you see at the top, Rob Dillingham just relocates into the corner and winds up getting a relocation pass for the 3. He had 4 of 5 from 3 at 16 points, 3 assists in that first half. Only had that 1 turnover at the end that led to that Hunter Dickinson 3 that got it to be a 7-point game. But I think John Calipari has to be very pleased. And for Bill Self, his team has to take better care of the ball, take better shots, and work harder to get the ball inside where they have a distinct advantage.
And Holly's got some thoughts from the Kansas coach.
Well, Coach Self was very frustrated with their shot selection. He said, our poor shot selection is leading to their transition. He said, hey, they're faster than we are. We're having a hard time running them off that three-point line, but if we would start making better decisions, they wouldn't get out in transition like that and hurt us so poorly.
Holly, thank you. We are now ready for the second half of our Sonic Blockbuster matchup. And one thing that Holly relayed there from Bill Self really sticks out to me. Quote, they're much faster than we are. This Kentucky team is fast.
They're fast, they're athletic, and they're very skilled. I mean, this Kentucky team, as young as they are, only had 3 turnovers in that first half. They're only averaging 4.5. This is obviously a higher level opponent than they've played to this point.
DJ Wagner puts it on the deck and heads to the line.
And when Kentucky moves the ball, it's not like they're running complicated. It's almost like they run a little bit of false motion to move the defense a little bit, and then they can attack. And when they attack off the dribble, they draw help, and they're such good passers, they can play out of it and make plays and make instinctive plays.
So how does it feel to be calling a game of a young man against whose grandfather you play? You played against Milt Wagner in the 1986 National Championship game. DeJuan Milt's son, DJ Milt's grandson. I believe this is the first time you've called the game of a grandson of a guy you played against.
Well, it's not like you weren't alive during that period. Let's not act like I'm working with a 19-year-old play-by-play person here.
Milt Wagner. Well, I mean, DeJuan was great too, but boy, Milt Wagner was terrific. And here's DJ. He's got a pretty bright future as well. In all likelihood, you'll have grandfather, father, son, 3 consecutive generations all playing in the NBA, because DJ certainly has that kind of ability.
If we're calling a game when Milt Wagner is a great grandfather, I'm going to have a real problem with that.
Seems unlikely on a number of levels.
But Milt was a great player.
Yes, he was.
The first time I played against him was in 1983 when he played with the Doctors of Dunk. Denny Crum's team went to the Final Four. In 1983, Lancaster Gordon, they had Charles Jones, and you mentioned Billy Thompson. That Scooter McRae was ridiculous.
KJ Adams just attempted his first 3 of the season. He missed it. He only attempted 3 all of last year. Didn't make any of them, but there is some talk that that'll become a bit more of a common thing for him. Running the floor, somehow saved it to Jackson, who somehow didn't walk. And Kansas still has an opportunity.
Oh, what a block.
Wow, Mitchell just taking it away from Adams.
Boy, how quick was that outlet, and Kentucky's down the floor. Antonio Reeves was going to cut to the basket and stopped his cut.
Off the legs of Elmarco Jackson, out of bounds.
And Bill Self moving on to the next play, but he was not happy after that turnover. Kansas trying to push it. But to Holly's point, after talking to him at halftime, some of the shots that Kansas took in the first half, and it wasn't like they were threes. They just took a ton of contested twos without making the defense move, and that really put their transition defense in a bad spot.
DeJuan Harris just picked up foul number 3. And again, this is a guy Bill Self trusts to play with some foul issues, but didn't want him to pick up his 3rd this early in the second half.
Yeah, after the ball had released, he caught the hand of Antonio Reeves, and that's a foul. And Antonio Reeves, when he's open, it's money. He doesn't throw many gutter balls.
You know what? I purposely didn't say anything because I knew you were going to make a Big Lebowski reference. And I knew it wasn't going to take very long. 12-point lead, Jay. Harris turns it over. Stolen away by Wagner. Look at the speed. Couldn't lay it in with a left hand. Adams on the deck, and it's Kansas ball. They got numbers. Harris.
Good fake.
It goes. Ooh. And Harris and Reeves getting into it, and Dickinson gets in the middle of them to make sure that doesn't escalate.
I wonder if they're going to go take a look at this.
No, they're calling them back on the floor. It doesn't look like it. The officials are calling both teams back onto the floor. Let's see what happened. Like just little incidental contact. Don't know if there had been some talking between them before, but it looked like Reeves kind of extended a little bit of a forearm, and then Harris responded. But nothing too serious.
Louis Carnesecca, the great coach of St. John's, used to call that, it's a subway push.
Did he do it in a Bill Raftery voice like that?
Well, that's the way he sounded. Yeah. How do you think Raf got that voice?
Down to 9 after the 3-point play for Harris. Mitchell a threat out there. Good shooter, good passer, does a lot of things well. Reeves got it.
So just the ball movement and the catch and shoot by Reeves. And he doesn't need much time and space, and he has deep range.
Kentucky 10 of 24 from 3. Kansas 3 of 12.
Well, look how aggressive Kentucky is going after the ball. Dillingham, as soon as Jackson turned his back, and you can see that this beautiful form from Antonio Reeves, a Chicago kid, Simeon High School, started his career at Illinois State, played 3 years for the Redbirds. You know the best player in Illinois State history is?
I do not.
Doug Collins.
Wow, that's a pretty good one. McCullough. Wide open Furphy. Boy, we watched him shoot corner 3 after corner 3 today. He's virtually automatic at times. Missed that one. Dillingham hits a cutting Reeves, who misses the reverse. Great hustle, though. I mean, all the guys in blue are just flying after every loose ball.
It's like Kansas can't block them out because of the energy and just relentless pursuit of the ball by Kentucky. You know, Kentucky really got on the offensive glass in the first half, and that 5 out makes them really difficult to box out. And, you know, it's not like KJ Adams is not an outstanding athlete, but you make a box out. It's a lot different boxing out 15, 20 feet from the basket and boxing out 5 feet from the basket.
Hunter Dickinson, the foul, his first. And again, at shoot around today, John Calipari said this isn't rocket science. We're going to try to spread them out and drive them, and they're going to try to pound the ball inside. Each team understands what their advantage and disadvantages are. And Reeves right now is a big advantage for Kentucky.
Just a great loop cut right around Trey Mitchell, and he can deliver that ball. He is a good passer. And Trey Mitchell's really a calming influence out on the floor for Kentucky. He must feel like a grandfather out there.
Harris knocks down a much-needed 3 for Kansas.
And Kentucky's only going to get better defensively as these young players learn to be a little bit more disciplined.
And once the 3 7-footers start playing for them, I mean, you want to talk about competition in practice and competition for minutes.
Well, it gives them rim protection too, and they can have some different looks. They can go small when they want. But John Calipari's best teams have always had shot blocking. They don't have that right now, but what they have is awfully impressive.
Coming up Sunday on ABC, Duke taking on number 6 Stanford inside Maples Pavilion at 3 Eastern. You are not going to want to miss this great women's college basketball matchup. And time now for our Wooden Watch, presented by Principal. Some notable candidates, including, of course, Caitlin Clark. And why wouldn't she be on this list? Let's go to Holly Rowe for more.
Well, what's exciting about this list already is Caitlin Clark has already dropped a triple-double this season. She's averaging 32 points per game. Paige Beckers looked phenomenal on Sunday, even though her team got upset. Angel Reeves has continued to be dominant, but she had a freshman that dropped 42 points today in a game for LSU. And Cameron Brink in Stanford, she has been one of the most indefatigable players in college basketball. So you just can't. Every time you turn on the TV, it's phenomenal women's college basketball.
It's just growing in popularity. I mean, season by season, leaps and bounds. Great to see.
Caitlin Clark is the most exciting player in America, male or female. They played in Charlotte against Virginia Tech last week, and it was reminiscent of Mia Hamm after women's soccer games in the World Cup. There's just the young girls flocking to her. I mean, she's an icon already.
What'd she have, 44 in that game?
I think so. Yeah, but she was phenomenal. Every game. It's like watching Pete Maravich play.
Reed Sheppard has checked back in for Kentucky in limited minutes. He's got 4 steals, but he just gave one back with a turnover. And Harris knocked to the court and will go to the free throw line.
Well, Sheppard usually makes really good decisions. He coughed it up there. It's been a while since he's been in the game. But he had 4 steals in that first half. He's the son of Jeff Sheppard, we mentioned. And Jeff Sheppard won a couple national championships at Kentucky.
Wears the same number as his dad. 3rd foul on Dillingham, by the way. One of 2 for Harris. And it's Kentucky ball. Edwards has been quiet tonight. With everything that's gone well for Kentucky, Justin Edwards hasn't made a field goal. He's got just 1 point. Dillingham fouled on the drive this time.
Well, how quick was that?
Yep.
You mentioned Edwards hasn't scored yet, but he hasn't forced anything either. And Justin Edwards is from Philadelphia, but tonight he's got a box here at the United Center where he is hosting a number of underprivileged Chicago youth, and he's going to visit with them after the game. His mother's up in the box right now. And in this age of NIL, when people are talking about what players are making, you know, Justin Edwards is giving back.
And Dillingham keeps piling up the points. He's got 18.
That is one explosive guard. He's not alone with DJ Wagner, and that's really, I think, made Antonio Reeves a bigger weapon. With those guys drawing so much attention and drawing defensive help, you know, you kick it to Reeves, and he can make open shots. And then Thiero has been outstanding in this game. A little horn set up top.
And Dillingham turns it over. Back comes Kansas. Harris probing, keeps the dribble alive as he always does. McCullough cuts. Can't finish it. Dickinson a tap and a follow.
Dickinson kept the ball alive. And by keeping the ball alive, he can go up and grab it. And he does. He's always, since day one when he was at Michigan, keeps the ball high. Watch, he doesn't bring it down, kept it up, and was able to draw that foul. Most guys that grab that rebound are going to bring it down and gather. And he didn't need to do that there.
You know, he's so good. He's one of these guys you watch the game and you say, yeah, he was pretty good, but he wasn't dominant or anything. He's already got 15 points, 13 rebounds. There's 14 and a half minutes left in the game.
He's been dominant.
Yeah.
He's just a presence.
Kansas fans starting to make some noise. They've got it down to 8.
They're coming with the double.
Mitchell is fouled by McCullough, who didn't like the call at all.
I think it was a foul. He got him off the floor. But Trey Mitchell, they doubled him in the first half, and he passed out of it effectively. There's no question that was a foul. I mean, it wasn't a big foul, but it was a foul.
3 on McCullough, 3 on Adams, 3 on Harris for the Jayhawks. Let's go to Holly.
Trey Mitchell learned much of his basketball from his mom, Erin, who was a terrific player at Charlotte. And I said, did you have any funny moments of her being too competitive? Because he said, I get my competitive nature from her. And he said, yeah, there was an awkward moment when I was a kid and she was teaching the neighborhood kids how to box out. And she's yelling at me and all my friends and showing us how you got to box out. He's like, that was a little awkward, but I love her. She's taught me everything I know.
Adams count the basket and a foul.
There's KJ Adams on that short roll, and that is difficult. But he can operate as a playmaker out of that. We've seen him pass out of that short roll, and here he sets a little screen, catches a tough catch, and DJ Wagner caught reaching in, and Adams able to concentrate and finish that play.
Too strong in the free throw, and the rebound down to Kentucky and Edwards. Edwards steps into this one way short. And now back come the Jayhawks, and Adams slams it home to make it a 4-point game.
Boy, it's remarkable, Dan. You take a bad shot, and that was a bad one. There's no reason to take that shot. And it's remarkable how many layups result on the other end.
7-0 run Kansas. And the momentum has swung in their favor here in recent minutes. How about that pass? McCullough up top. And KJ Adams knows exactly what to do with that. As good as there is in the college game at slamming it home on the alley-oop. We got a good one. Michigan State taking on Kansas and Duke against Kentucky. This is the 13th year, so next year in Atlanta, the 14th year of the Champions Classic. And coming into the event this year, Duke and Kansas were both 7-5. Kentucky and Michigan State were both 5-7. Duke's gone 8-5. Michigan State's dropped to 5-8. Well, remains to be seen what happens here, but this event is just so much fun year after year.
It's just a magnificent way to tip off the college basketball season. And right now, Kentucky has to get something going on the offensive end. Kansas has tightened up its defense. Kentucky not getting quite as many easy opportunities.
Reeves, boy, he had to work hard to get that shot off over a good defender in Adams.
Well, he just stopped on a dime.
Not just a catch and shoot guy. He can score in a lot of different ways. McCullough over the top. Adams lays it in.
Just a set play to eliminate weak side help, get caught in front. And Kevin McCullough coming out to the wing and just turning around, throwing it right over the top.
8 assists in this game, Jay, for Kevin McCullough.
He just plays a complete game and plays at both ends. Just switched off back onto Justin Edwards, but you can put him on Antonio Reeves' length. He can stay with him. He can switch off onto anybody.
Step back for Reeves. Dickinson, another rebound, his 15th.
Oh, he throws such good outlet passes. You got to think they're going to look inside to Dickinson here.
He's not going inside
now.
Right
He's spaced out to the line, but middle ball screen. He should roll here.
Harris up top, and it ends up working out very nicely for Kansas.
Well, you get that action in the middle of the floor. If you stay with the ball a little bit too long, you can just lob it up to Dickinson. He's had more dunks first 3 games at Kansas he had his whole career at Michigan.
Air ball Thiero. Kansas can tie or take the lead. At one point, Kentucky led by 14 here in the second half. Wow, how did Dickinson tip that one in?
He just keeps going after it. It's not like he's a great leaper, but his timing impeccable.
All the way back to a tie here at 62. Reeves is open. Missed it. McCullough the rebound.
Well, Kentucky has to continue to attack the paint. They can't just settle for jumpers, even though they've knocked down, what, 10 threes?
10 for 28, but they have cooled off some. They were 9 for 18 to start the game, so they've only made 1 of their last 10. Adams for the lead. Kentucky ball.
Well, Thiero is really fighting Dickinson inside. Trey Mitchell as well.
Tough runner. Does not go for Wagner. Back come the Jayhawks again, looking for the lead.
Strong take.
They got it.
Well, Kentucky looks like they're getting a little bit worn out. Got beat down the floor, 3-on-2, and McCullough. That's about as strong a take as you can have. Just went right into the defense, drew the contact, and still was able to complete the play. Couldn't close the door on him. And Hunter Dickinson, nobody boxes him out, just gets that left hand. He's left-handed, tips it in off the glass.
ESPN Plus. Saturday college football matchups include Cincinnati and West Virginia, 2:30 Eastern, and Baylor and TCU at 3:30 Eastern. If you're a Big 12 fan, you got to have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now. Kansas Huddle, Bill Self. Is maybe the best coach in the country in terms of what they run out of a timeout. What is it about Bill Self that makes them so good out of timeout?
His teams are just so well prepared, and you know, he puts the defense in difficult positions. He'll set screens at an angle so that the defense has to go over the screen. That can open up a lob look. And I think he was talking there. They want to run a play next time down. They call it 4 up. That's probably KJ Adams at the elbow, and then he'll wind up in a short roll.
Antonio Reeves with a 3, and it's tied again.
And there it is.
And Dickinson and Adams can't connect.
There's a straight line pass instead of throwing it up.
It looks like Bill Self thought that Adams was being held, and that's why he couldn't catch the pass. He was pleading for a foul call. Sheppard is back into the game. Have not seen him for that many minutes here tonight, Jay.
Well, he came back in. He picked up that foul. He had 4 steals in the first half in limited minutes. When he picked up his second foul, you know, Cal took him out, and then he came back into the second half, turned the ball over right away, and I think came out. But he's such a good facilitator in there. He can shoot. He's got a high release on that shot, and he makes, for the most part, really good decisions. But he's a very alert defender.
Yeah, he's a guy of whom John Calipari says, I don't care. Well, he does care where the numbers are, but the point he said, I don't care where the numbers show. He said he makes us a better team when he is on the court.
There are just certain guys that help things run better. You know, they can move the ball. They're willing passers, and he can make open shots. And He's a very good help defender. And he can play the point.
Yeah.
And he's got athleticism. I mean, he blew by his defender to get in the lane and draw that foul.
Parker Brown's back into the game for Kansas. KJ Adams went to the bench. Nearly stolen by Dillingham and then called for the foul, and that's number 4. DJ Wagner will take his place.
Yeah, he's just trying to run through it and take it the other way. Just caught a little bit of McCullough's arm. McCullough is headed toward a triple-double here. He's got like 8 assists and 7 or 8 rebounds. Already got 11 points. Good tip out by Hunter Dickinson.
And now Dickinson got held by Mitchell. It's bonus both ways with half of a half still to go here. This one might be decided at the free throw line.
But Dickinson has gone to work on the glass. I mean, he doesn't get credit for a rebound knocking that ball out, but he's got 16 rebounds in this game. 5 of them on the offensive end. 20 points that he can add to here.
Career high in rebounds tonight for Dickinson. Now is 17. That's his 21st point. 10 minutes to go.
He is really thriving in this system. Bill Self is really taking advantage of his skills, especially his skills as a passer.
Missed the second. And to your point, Sheppard at the point here as Kentucky comes up the floor. Reeves, boy, that's a clean look. And Kansas may be fortunate that one didn't go down. Harris turns the corner, finds McCullough, who finds Dickinson, who's heading back to the line.
Just when the ball gets reversed, Dickinson just took Burks, who he's got a distinct size and bulk advantage, and just buried him in the lane. Buried him.
And it's funny you say that, because I was just thinking that's the phrase that Bill Self used repeatedly at shoot-around. Buried.
Just set that screen, and then he just drove down the lane, got him on his hip. But the ball movement to get it to the right angle is what's important. And when Kansas is 4-round-1, I really believe this. Dickinson is open. It's just a question of the angle of the ball to get it to him.
There's no reason for him to not be the first option on every possession, right? At this point in this game?
Not in this game, absolutely. I think Kansas should be looking to play inside out. Now they're going to run different actions, and they're so good running that ball screen action in the middle of the floor because it's so difficult to help on a roll in the middle of the floor.
Thiero baseline over Dickinson, tipped away. Kentucky bench screaming that ball was in the cylinder.
Not sure whether Parker Brown or Hunter Dickinson got a piece of that little triangle floppy action.
High ball screen, Dickinson. Harris the drive. The cutter is Parker Brown.
I think questions about Parker Brown's athleticism are answered. He is a really good athlete.
Kansas by 3. Not for long. Reed Sheppard ties it.
Well, you go under that little rub screen. And I think Reed Sheppard has proven he's going to pull the trigger on that.
All knotted up at 70. 8:20 to go. Dickinson banging with Mitchell. It's Brown at the elbow. 8 on the shot clock. McCullough over the top to Dickinson. Tipped away. Out of bounds. Kansas ball with 2 to shoot. John Calipari wanted to make sure his players are aware there's only 2 on the clock. Brown got it off, but it's Kentucky ball. Mitchell trying to back down Dickinson. Kicks it to Thiero. Good cut by Thiero. Has to kick it back out. Wagner up top, doesn't get anything, and it's Kansas ball.
Just rushed it. He didn't want to shoot it on that kick out.
What an attempt there by Brown, left it just a little bit short. Kentucky in transition. Reeves gets it back and missed again. And now a foul committed by Kevin McCullough of Kansas.
Well, Thiero's been all over the glass. His energy has been so impressive. But that was a good three in transition by Reeves. He just didn't get it to go. Boy, this has been fun, hasn't it? Up
Absolutely.
and down. Shots, especially when Michigan State got caught in overhelp situations. And you know, Duke won that game at the free throw line as well. The free throw disparity was pretty stark in that game between Duke and Michigan State. But there's a long way to go in this one. 7-18 in regulation. And Kansas, you wonder with this young Kentucky team, do they have enough gas in the tank? And Kansas has dominated points in the paint. What is it, 36-16, I think you just said?
Yep.
And I think Kansas is going to continue to try to get overload situations, get the ball inside, whether it's to Hunter Dickinson or KJ Adams, Kevin McCullough. You know, they want to still look to get the ball into the post.
1 of 2 for Thiero and a 1-point lead for Kentucky. Nicholas Timberlake is back into the game for Kansas. Played a few minutes in the first half. Again, the grad transfer from Towson. He can shoot it. Adams taking it from Harris. Now the kick out to Jackson. Still plenty of time.
Step up ball screen by Brown.
Again, great cut by Adams. Boy, if you play with DeJuan Harris, you know if you keep moving, he'll find you.
Well, Kentucky's initial defense was good. But after the second, third side of the floor, Kansas is more likely to get Kentucky to make a mistake. And a great cut by KJ Adams on that Nash dribble into the basket.
And the 7th assist of the night for Harris to go with 15 points. That'll go somehow for Thiero, who's now got 16.
John Calipari asking for the foul on the stick back. But how about the energy with which Adu Thiero's played in this game?
Remember, didn't play in the last game, was in concussion protocol after a hard fall in Kentucky's first game of the season.
Ooh, wow.
That was read beautifully by Mitchell. And initiating the contact and finishing is Reeves.
Right, DeJuan Harris had lobbed that ball up for Parker Brown to get a lob. And Trey Mitchell just knocked it right back. Usually that would be, he read that perfectly. And then Marco Jackson backpedaling, and Antonio Reeves took advantage of it. That's just a fantastic play by Trey Mitchell.
Looked like a volleyball play there by Trey Mitchell.
Nice spike to start the fast break. Trey Mitchell started his career at UMass, where he was Atlantic 10 Rookie of the Year, transferred to Texas, then went to West Virginia, and now is a grad transfer at Kentucky. And he's making a big difference here.
Well, where would they be without him with all of the injuries to the bigs they have, both from an experience point of view and a size point of view? He has been critically important.
They'd be awfully small. They'd be a 5-guard lineup instead of 4.
Burks back in for Kentucky. Bill Self brought Hunter Dickinson back into the game. We had a little cleanup on aisle 2 situation, delaying the game for a moment down in the corner. Now Reeves at the line, trying to extend the lead. And he does with his 20th point of the night.
And even though Kentucky has been making threes throughout this game, it slowed down a little in the second half, especially with Rob Dillingham with 4 fouls. Kentucky still wants to attack the paint because they want to draw fouls.
Adams draws a foul.
He rolls so well to the basket. That was a roll all the way. And he's like a linebacker going down that lane.
He is. He played lacrosse at a high level. Now he's playing basketball at a high level. And if he woke up tomorrow and decided he wanted to play football, I'm sure he'd be pretty good at that too.
I hate to see him with a stick in his hands running at you. It's bad. It's intimidating enough without one. sure Jim Brown was a little bit more intimidating, but not by much.
Thiero in for Burks. Adams frustrated after missing that. Missed them both.
Good box out by Trey Mitchell against Hunter Dickinson. Dickinson bigger, does a good job of reaching over the top and keeping that ball alive. Good drive.
And the lead is now 6.
Well, Kansas tried to jump that ball screen and allowed Reed Sheppard to refuse it and get all the way to the rim. And John Calipari, with an empty Dunkin' Donuts card, is enjoying it. Boy, these guys fight, don't they?
Boy, back and forth. Each team a couple of times looked like it might take the lead and just kind of run away with it, but give this young Kentucky team credit. Kansas made a push. Kansas took the lead here in the second half, and the Cats have responded again.
Well, Marco Jackson needed to force Reed Sheppard to use that screen. Instead, he almost kept him from it and allowed an open lane to the basket. Sheppard took advantage of it. It's a great decision by Reed Sheppard. A great read of the play.
I'm sorry. Regardless of who wins tonight, what have you learned about these two teams so far?
Well, you've learned that Kentucky is tough in addition to being really talented. These guys compete, and they're competing at a little bit of a deficit without having their big guys available. But you know, they play with pace. They're unafraid. They don't turn the ball over. They're good passers. And to have Adu Thiero attack the way he has, and they've spread it around well. And this is without one of their best players, Justin Edwards, having what I would consider one of his better games. You know, he's not been making buckets, but he's also not forced anything.
He's yet to make a field goal in this game. He has 1 free throw, and they've still got a 6-point lead. Dickinson has it rejected by Mitchell.
Well, what an athletic play by Trey Mitchell. Gave a little bit of ground and able to block that shot without making body contact. Mismatch.
Sheppard driving on Dickinson and turned it over. Read well there by McCullough. You talk about ripping and going. He couldn't finish it, but look who's there to clean it up. K.J. Adams.
K.J. Adams didn't give up on the play. Didn't assume it was just going to be made. Well, what a defensive play by McCullough to read the eyes of the passer and take that away.
Now Reeves.
I wonder how much longer that John Calipari is going to keep Rob Dillingham on the bench for those 4 fouls. Good crossover.
And they turn it over again. Jackson out ahead of the pack, draws the foul. And we'll head to the free throw line for 2. Haven't talked a lot about Jackson tonight. A McDonald's All-American, has only been playing 4 or 5 years of competitive basketball. He's got a lot of skills, a lot of tools.
He had 10 assists against Manhattan, John Gallagher's team. Almost had a double-double with 9 points. He had 15 assists and 2 turnovers coming into this game. He's explosive, but still learning how to play. But as he develops, Johnny Furphy develops, it's going to give a couple more weapons for Bill Self to play with.
1 of 2. And a 3-point game. Dillingham heading to the scorers table. Reeves back to Sheppard, 15 to shoot.
McCullough switched out off of Edwards on to Sheppard.
Mitchell, turnaround, fouled.
Well, he got hit going up. And Mitchell does a good job with poise in the post. Takes his time, looked middle to see if a double was coming, and just worked his way into the middle of the lane, turning over that left shoulder.
Well, the Kansas fans just saw the replay up on the scoreboard, and they are not loving number 4 on Adams.
But there's no question that's a foul. He threw his chest into him. You know, that was something that, when I watch his chest, hands up, but he put his chest right into him. I mean, you know, look, a lot of times those things go uncalled, but that's a shooter there. And I think most people don't realize when you're able to hit somebody with your chest like that, you knock a shooter off balance. And the mistake by referees when they don't call that.
Under 4 to play, Kentucky by 4, Kansas ball.
Good pass.
Jackson, short. Rebound Reeves, and Adams just fouled out of the game.
Well, that is a big play in this ball game. The last 3:46 to go without KJ Adams and his defense, rebounding, and his presence.
One more look going to break as one of the key Jayhawks is out of the game with 3:46 to go. They have lost the services of KJ Adams the rest of the way. Kentucky's got the ball and the lead. Less than 4 to go. ESPN, it is SportsCenter from Los Angeles with Stan Barrett and Linda Cohn. The in-season tournament continues in the NBA. Highlights from that, plus how the college football playoff rankings changed and could still change in the future, and the latest on Shohei Ohtani's free agency. All that and more on SportsCenter with Stan and Linda. Well, there's Mr. Chicago right there. That's our buddy John Boog Shambi, outstanding baseball and basketball voice on ESPN, and also the voice of the Chicago Cubs here locally. That's Jameson Taillon in the booth.
And that was Sarah Spain.
Oh, was it? I didn't see Sarah there. Ryan Dempster was in there before. Other than us, that's where all the cool people in the building are hanging out tonight.
All the cool people are courtside. One thing I know, when John Shambi, when we get this time of year, it's driving season. He only drives during basketball season.
That's right.
And it's a frightening experience.
He is opposed to driving.
And I'm opposed to driving with him.
Couple of free throws, and it's a 6-point lead.
And Dillingham back in the game. He's got to avoid picking up that 5th foul, but that gives another shooter scorer.
Harris knocks it down. Boy, a little look-away pass fake to open up some space. And DeJuan Harris has 18 points in this game.
Rob Dillingham went hunting for steals and just left Harris wide open. And you just can't dare him to shoot. He had plenty of time. He doesn't get that much time in a horse game. What a great move by Antonio Reeves. Well, he's got a lot in that bag.
He's got 24.
And you can tell he's so much more comfortable this year as opposed to his first year in a Kentucky uniform last year.
Harris again, and that's a new career high for the senior. He's got 21 points in this game.
Well, Dillingham got caught going underneath, and Harris made him pay.
5 for 5 from 3. How about that? Reeves. Kansas in transition. Reeves was looking for the foul, so he went to the deck. Caught behind the play, and eventually a Kentucky foul.
See, Dillingham went hunting for that steal, and look how far he had to recover. That's way too much time. And then he goes underneath the screen here, and a little rescreen goes under again, gets caught behind the 7-footer Hunter Dickinson. And well, I think Bill Self likes the more aggressive. I think coming into this game, in the first 2 games, DeJuan Harris was averaging 1 point per game.
Yeah, he did not take a single shot in 25 minutes against North Carolina Central, and he went 1 for 4 against Manhattan College. He is 7 for 11 tonight, including 5 for 5 from 3.
I think Bill Self likes the more aggressive, offensive-minded DeJuan Harris.
Tie game.
How fun is this?
Dillingham the kick. Gets it back from Reeves. Air ball.
I don't know what he was thinking there.
Harris looking for Dickinson down in the paint. Dickinson banging with Mitchell. And Mitchell called for the foul.
He just got tangled up, and it looked like it was Dickinson that was initiating the contact, and Mitchell was just holding his ground.
Yeah.
They got caught up, but tell me who's, well, he initiated that. Yeah, I can see where they called it. It was a little more than I thought. I thought he was just trying to hold his ground, but
Sheppard checking in for the Wildcats.
24-20. First time since 2003. Nick Collison. The Jayhawks had a 20-20 game, and now it's Kansas by 2.
Well, it took Dickinson forever. It's his third game as a Jayhawk.
Reeves over McCullough. No. Out of bounds, Kentucky ball.
Well, Kentucky right now, last couple minutes, have tried to make individual plays. And that's in part the sign of a young team. Now, Antonio Reeves isn't a young player, but he's playing alongside a number of young players.
Two freshmen in the game for Kentucky, Wagner and Sheppard. Wagner somehow gets all the way to the rim but can't finish. But we've got a foul going against Kansas.
Trey Mitchell right there to tip it in. Just got hit and maybe undercut a little bit.
Boy, Dickinson better be careful here. He is really giving an earful to Terry Oglesby. His third.
Almost wound up getting that. Yeah, that's a foul.
That's a foul. Yeah. Oh, he was upset that he got hit in the face.
He did, but it was inadvertent. But he fouled him.
And he appears to be bleeding. That's why we have a delay right now.
The inadvertent ones hurt more. I mean, the officials are going to take a look at it, but I can't see how that would be anything other than inadvertent. I mean, the foul was on Dickinson. It doesn't seem like there's any question about that. That would be called incidental contact, and incidental doesn't mean it can't hurt, can't be violent.
Dickinson hit there, and then the swing of the arm is where he's called for the foul.
And you can see where, watch Mitchell, he got hit first here. See, he gets hit there and got pulled. You know, you could have called that either on McCullough or Dickinson, but Dickinson just took that stray shot with the left arm, and there's nothing they can call there. That's not a foul, not any sort of flagrant or anything like that.
So it is just the personal foul on Dickinson.
Kansas right now has a pretty small lineup in there. McCullough's basically going to be playing the 4 with Dickinson at the 5, and then you got Harris and McDowell.
2 free
down. Doesn't get a lot of knee bend here.
1 of 2, 1-point game. Harris guarded by Wagner. Here comes McCullough. Jamari McDowell in the game for Kansas here in the closing couple of minutes. Dickinson, boy, didn't even jump. Never left the floor or his feet.
Boy, he's just so good getting into your body and locking the defender to the floor.
Reeves short, offensive rebound.
1 minute.
Final minute of regulation.
No need to be in a rush here, and you don't need to have a 3.
Reeves will try one. Dickinson down with a rebound, his 21st of the night.
Kentucky does not have to foul. They can play this out. I think Kansas has to look to get the ball inside again. Draw a foul.
Looks like Bill Self wants to call a timeout. He just told Ron Gruber that with 13 on the shot clock and 32 on the game clock.
Hunter Dickinson has had a monster game. Scoring, rebounding.
The other thing that changed in this game is Kentucky went 9 for 18 from 3 in the first half. They're 3 for 18 from 3 in the second half, but all night long it's just been too much Hunter Dickinson.
So difficult for Trey Mitchell to have to box out play after play with that size. They play angles so well, and when you get knocked down, that was a huge shot to end the half, to take it from a 10-point game to a 7-point game and give Kansas a little bit of momentum. But the spin, getting it with the left hand with the angle, Hunter Dickinson has been outstanding in his third game in a Kansas uniform.
27 and 21 for Dickinson in this game. Kansas ball up by 3, 32 seconds to go.
27 and 21. That's a good week for a lot of players, let alone one game.
And let's not forget Kevin McCullough. He's a rebound away from a triple-double in this game. He's got 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists. And now John Calipari will use a timeout. I think they could change this rule. But you can't call a timeout after a timeout.
Why not? What else are we going to do?
Well, give me some more Big Lebowski. Give me some more Big Lebowski stories.
It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
I just think Antonio Reeves should have his own bowling shoe deal.
Kansas, by the way, we're going to see them again. They are headed out to Hawaii in a couple of days. They are part of the Maui Invitational, which, as many people know, will be played in Honolulu this year after that devastating fire on the island of Maui. The tournament has been moved to Honolulu this year. Check out this field. Kansas will start with Chaminade, Marquette, and UCLA on that half of the bracket. And then the top half of the bracket, Tennessee, Syracuse, and Purdue, Gonzaga. This is going to be fun. Let's go to Holly.
And you know what's really special is Kansas was very diligent playing an exhibition game where they raised over $2 million that they will donate to Maui Strong Fund. They are continuing to auction off their uniforms that will be worn in that game. So Kansas and Bill Self doing all they can to help out the folks of Maui.
Outstanding. Michigan State, Tennessee played an exhibition game as well. Proceeds going to the Maui Recovery Fund.
Screen and rescreen from Hunter Dickinson. Now he's down in the low post.
Shot clock's at 1. And that's a shot clock violation on the Jayhawks.
Well, not very good execution by Kansas, but give Kentucky credit. This young team defended very well. And Bill said, I think that Kentucky needs to get something going to the basket. If they can draw the defense, draw help, and can kick it for a 3, that's fine. They don't have to have a 3 here. There's still plenty of time.
And John Calipari has called a timeout. Ron Gruber's at the monitor, probably to see exactly when the shot clock violation occurred, so they know how much time to have on the game clock. Right there goes to 0, so it looks like they'll put maybe more than a
19.4. It looked like.
Hits the side of the backboard about 19.1.
Yeah, 19.5, 19.6, 19.5 maybe. Yep, there it is, 19.6.
Timeout, John Calipari. Kentucky ball. Shot clock will be turned off. They're down by 3. Still enough time that they don't need a 3, right? If they get a quick 2, you take that?
I would take the quick 2 if you can get it, absolutely. And if you can draw help and kick it to an open shooter, you take that.
Clock reset to 19.6.
Be interesting to see if John Calipari puts the ball in the hands of Reed Sheppard here. I think in all likelihood he'll be running. He's going to inbound it, but it's he and Rob Dillingham, then Antonio Reeves. So you've got shooters and then two rebounders with Thiero and Mitchell.
Dillingham to bring it up. Reeves, they surround him, off to Mitchell. Sheppard forces it up, comes up empty.
I don't get that.
Wow.
They tried to run a little fade screen, rescreen for Antonio Reeves on the right side. But when Mitchell caught it, tried to hand it off, Sheppard, there was no need for that shot. That's more of a put your head down and get it to the rim. Coming off this little handoff, that's an incredibly difficult shot. That's one you take when there's 1 second on the clock, not when there's 7.
Dillingham fouled out. So another stoppage here. You get 20 seconds after a player fouls out. You can kind of have a mini timeout here as you put the new player in.
But this is a learning experience for this Kentucky group. And they have battled in this game. I think there were a number of people that might have been worried that, with Kansas being the #1 team, the huge size advantage, how would Kentucky compete? And man, they have competed and then some.
Jamari McDowell, a freshman from Houston who just checked into the game for the first time a couple of minutes ago, is at the free throw line.
He had some good minutes against Manhattan. Long arms, good defender. So that makes it a 2-possession game, and absent something bizarre happening, that pretty much puts this out of reach.
Five-point game. Reeves gets it off. And that is going to do it. Heck of a basketball game here tonight between Kansas and Kentucky, and the Jayhawks emerge victorious in a hard-fought affair by a score of 89-84. That was a fun 40 minutes of basketball.
A really well-played game. But as well as Kansas played to win it, you have to respect the effort of this young Kentucky team. Really impressive. And when they get their big guys back, it's going to be a formidable team. Boy, the SEC is going to be a fist fight all year.
Yep.
Tennessee right now may be the best team overall, but Alabama's going to be really good, and Kentucky is going to be right there.
Arkansas dangerous too. Deep lead. Big 12 is always tough, you know that. And it didn't get any easier with Hunter Dickinson finding his way into the Big 12 now as a member of the Jayhawks. He went for 27 points and 21 rebounds, made 10 of 11 free throws in this game tonight as Kansas wins a back-and-forth affair by a score of 89-84. Always fun when these two great programs meet.
But Hunter Dickinson with a 20-20 game, Kevin McCullough with a triple-double. Kansas has a lot to look forward to.
Holly Rowe is with Hunter Dickinson.
Well, Hunter, you had 27 points and 21 rebounds. How were you able to impose your will in the paint like that?
That was the game plan coming in. Coach had a lot of trust in me. That's why he brought me here, is to try to dominate the game. I just went out there. He's got a lot of good plays to get me into positions. I got the best point guard in the country. I got a lot of unselfish guys on my team to help me out.
You guys were down big at the half. What did you say at halftime? Because this was a much different type of Kansas team in the second half.
This is Kansas basketball. When you got the most wins in NCAA history, you find ways to win. And so that's what we did tonight. We knew that we were down 7, but we've been in worse positions. National championship team was down double digits and found a way to come back, so we could do it too.
I love that you already know the Kansas history. You feel so at home. This is only your 3rd game. How are you making your name known for Jayhawk Nation right now?
It was a crazy, departure, but here, it's like you said, it feels like a new home for me. The fans really embrace me. I got a great coach, and like I said, I got a lot of unselfish guys that make me really good.
Off to Hawaii, what will that be like now to go and do something so great?
That'll be fun with some good weather. Hopefully we can get a couple wins and keep this streak going.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Rock Chalk.
Huge night for Hunter Dickinson tonight, leading Kansas to a victory over Kentucky 89-84. Duke beating Michigan State in the opener. Hope you enjoyed the State Farm Champions Classic as much as we did. For Jay Billis, Holly Rowe, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks so much for watching.